Alright, I'm sitting on the truck. I'm doing a quick video on my 2007 Tundra, the 4.7 liter motor. I'm not sure if the transfer case is the same for the 4.7 or the 5.7, but some of the description that people were talking about, it just didn't match what my truck was doing. So anyway, this is the actuator for my 4 low on my transfer case, and it took some playing around to figure out what this thing did to function right. So when you turn the 4 low on, I didn't know what the motor was doing, so I had my buddy turn it on and off, and I can see what the motor's doing. So what happens is, when it turns, this motor turns clockwise, and when it turns, this gear here is what's pulling that rod all the way out. And when it I'm gonna take this out to make a demonstration, but it's gonna turn like this, and then this arm here is gonna make contact with that little switch. And then what it does is it right now there's no continuity with it when you put a multimeter on, and then when the switch is pushed in, there's continuity between it, and that's just to tell the computer, hey, you're in 4-wheel low. But that's what it does. When you turn the switch, this thing turns all the way around. It actually goes past when it's not hooked on, it actually goes past the switch, but it just tells the system, hey, you're good, and then it comes back this way. So there's that. All right, so the next thing is, let's look at the rod. So this is the rod. Again, this is a 2007 4.7 liter truck, so it might be different on the other transfer cases, I don't know. For this one, you can see, this is the all the way in position. This is all the way out. It's kind of hard to do this. That's all the way in. That's all the way out. That's all the way in. So for 4 low, this is it's disengaged this way. And then when it's all the way out, that's when it's engaged. But this only works once your 4 high is engaged. So once your 4 high is engaged, it says, hey, you're on 4-wheel drive. And then when you go to 4 low, it's like this first. And then when the motor turns, it's going to pull it out all the way, and it locks in for 4 low. I got it installed. I went ahead and bought a pack of some stainless steel screws, because some genius thought that steel screws would be good for something that's underneath the truck. So these stainless, hopefully is the last time I'll deal with this. But my dumb butt, I didn't know that you're supposed to run your 4-wheel drive at least like once a month for 10 miles or something, according to the manual. And I haven't ran it for like 2 years since I sold the boat. So anyway, I'm gonna plug this in. We'll give it a go and test it out. Okay, truck's on jack stands. Let's just turn on. Hopefully this doesn't beep the whole time. I guess it does. All right, anyway, it's done. All right, so I'm gonna put in 4 high. And what you're gonna hear is a whirl, like, and that's gonna be your 4 high actuator engaging. And then once that's done, you're gonna hear kind of like a whine, and that's gonna be your front differential actuator that is also activating. It slides the forks over to lock in the front differential. So now I'm going to go to 4 low. You should hear your actuator. Well, now it's not working. You're going to hear the actuator. Open this door, it's hot. Alright, so let's try this. I'm going to put on 2-wheel. I had to readjust the gear a couple times because it wasn't in its happy place where it was fully turned, where the rod was, and then where the little arm that hit the contact. So I had to make little micro adjustments. But now we're going to go to 4-wheel. That first, the whirling noise is your transfer actuator, and then the that's your front differential, kind of like a whiny Anyways, that locks in your 4-wheel drive now. And now we're gonna go to 4 low. Hopefully it works here. Push in. And then we got 4 low. So, and then back to 4 high. And then back to 2 wheel. And there you go. So when you go from 4 high to 2-wheel drive, you're gonna hear the whining noise, which is your front differential disengaging, and then the whirling noise, just like the whatever. That's your actuator pushing the rod back in, so it's disengaging the 4-wheel drive from the transfer case. So there's that. Okay, a brief correction on my timing for this, and it took a lot of playing around to figure it out. But I found out that no matter where you put this gear in, when you plug it in, there's always going to be movement on that motor. It's always going to turn, and sometimes it doesn't always turn to what I was expecting, which what I was mentioning, the original position. The best way I found to make sure that you have the best timing right for the 4 low is that you plug in the harness, turn on the truck, let the motor turn and do its thing, because no matter what position you put in, the motor's going to turn a little bit for some reason, and that tends to screw up the timing. So what worked best for me was I had the harness plugged into this thing, and then the motor turned to whatever position it needs to be in, and then I took the gear out, and then I put this arm about 2 centimeters to the right of where this the micro switch arm is, for it to be in the perfect position to install onto the rod. Because what happens is, even when I set when I have this cover disconnected, and then I set this timing the way it is right now, when it's plugged into the truck and it turns on, this thing moves back a little bit by default. It's almost like it's kind of reinitializing or something, and then it threw out my timing. So when I plugged it in, when it rotated clockwise, it was not enough rotation in the gears to pull the rod all the way out to make sure that it's fully engaged. So again, I still made a correction after this photo was taken, but you know, this is the best I can do, is to make sure that this end here is about 2 centimeters to the right of it. So turn it a little bit to the right, away from the arm, and make sure that this thing is plugged into the truck. The harness is plugged into the truck's turned on, so that way everything initializes. And then if you need to make adjustment, take the wheel off and adjust it about 2 centimeters to the right of this switch, and then install this thing into the 4 low housing while the truck is on, accessory on, not like running on. So that way nothing's moving. And then once you install it, everything should still be in its position that it's supposed to be in. And that's what worked for me.